Welcome back to my channel. My name's Lauren and this week I'm going to be creating a quarter circle skirt with pleats and finishing it with an invisible zipper. I'm using a cotton fabric with this vintage floral print which inspired me to make the skirt, and hopefully the fabric will give a little bit of structure. If you find this video helpful, remember to like and subscribe, and with that, let's get to it. I started by folding the fabric in half from the centre corner, turning the 90-degree angle into a 45-degree one, as I've kind of shown on screen. I started by making the bottom curve and removing the extra fabric that I had to make it a little bit easier. I used the tape measure from the 45-degree angle in a similar way you would with a protractor to create the curve along the bottom of the skirt, measuring out the shortest point and then marking the shortest point all the way round to create my curve. I was then just able to cut along this line to remove the extra fabric to make it easier to work with. I began by measuring my waist and adding on a couple of centimetres to give me extra length to create the pleats. I put my figure into a website called By Hand London, which I'll link below. I wish I'd added on more length to my waist measurement so I could have had more pleats in the end. However, I used the same protractor method as before to create the waist curve on my fabric. I started by folding my skirt piece back in half and marking the middle, because I wanted a section at the front that didn't have any pleats and then the pleats to go the rest of the way round. However, it turned out I didn't have enough fabric, so I just put in the pleats that I could, which only turned out to be 4 small ones, and then sewed them in place. The pleats can be any sort of length that you want. I had mine about 3 centimetres wide and folded them in half and folded that over, but your pleats can be however you want. I pinned all 4 pleats in place and then just did a straight stitch over the top of them to hold them there securely. To create the waistband, I used my waist measurement and then added some seam allowance. The thickness of my waistband was about 10 centimetres since I was going to be folding it over, and that also included seam allowance too. Since I was using cotton, I used the tear method, which didn't go to plan, so I just had to trim off the excess and ended up with a slightly smaller waistband, which was okay height-wise. Once I was happy, I folded it in half lengthways and then pinned it to the waist of the skirt, right sides together, and sewed the whole thing in place. And I also overlocked the edges too, just to give a nice finish. Next thing I had to do was put the invisible zipper in. I marked the length of the zipper from where I wanted it to start to see where it finished. I marked this out and then sewed from the end of the zipper all the way down to the end of the skirt to secure that in place. I started by laying the zipper down to work out how it will be once it's sewn into the fabric. I then started to pin it in place. I pinned one side at a time and sewed it before pinning the next side. I try laying the teeth out as flat as they can go, so I'm able to sew as close to the teeth as possible. Normally I use a basic zipper foot, but recently I got an invisible zipper foot for a couple of pounds, and it was the first time that I used it, but I have to say it was very worthwhile. The teeth sort of sit up inside the actual foot itself, so it's able to sew so close to the teeth, closer than I could ever get. So if you do a lot of invisible zippers, I definitely recommend getting one. Once I'd sewn the first side, I then repeated what I'd just done, pinned and sewed the second side after. Once my zipper was in place, I just had to tuck over the top bits of the zipper and I decided to hand sew them down just so they weren't visible from the outside and I could have a clean finish. But this could be done on the sewing machine if you wanted to as well. Last but not least, I did a double roll hem all the way around the bottom of the skirt and then just did a straight stitch to secure that in place and stop the ends from fraying. And with that I was done, so let's see how it turned out. I think this skirt's super cute and I really like the length. It's got such a retro feel to it. I'd pair this skirt with a plain top and a denim jacket to complete the look. Don't forget to check out some of my other videos on my channel and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you!